and welcome back to the USA English Podcast. We're so happy you're here with us today. I'm Erica.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to see you again. I'm Marco. Our mission is simple. We want to help you speak English with confidence in real-life situations. We do that through natural conversations so you can hear how English really sounds. We believe you don't need perfect grammar to communicate well. You just need the right phrases and the confidence to use them. And today we have an incredibly useful topic. We're going to teach you 100 essential phrases on how to talk about job etiquette in English.
Job etiquette. That's such an important topic.
It really is. Job etiquette means the rules of good behavior at work. It's about how to act professionally, how to treat your colleagues, and how to communicate respectfully in a workplace environment. And you know what? A lot of people know how to do their job, but they don't always know the right words to talk about workplace behavior in English.
Exactly. Whether you're working in an English-speaking company, applying for a job, or just want to understand professional culture better, this lesson is for you. This is going to be really practical and useful.
I'm excited.
Me too. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do it now. Click the subscribe button and the little bell so you never miss a new lesson. And if you like what we do here, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps more people find our channel.
Okay, are you ready to learn about job etiquette? Let's get started. So, Erica, how are you today?
Honestly, Marco, I'm a little tired, but happy. I had a very busy week at work.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, we had a new person join our team this week, and I kind of became the person who shows them around and explains everything.
Oh, so you were like a mentor.
Yes, or at least I tried to be. I explained things like where the coffee machine is, how to use the printer, where to sit, the important stuff.
The important stuff. What about, the actual work?
Oh, that too, but honestly, finding the coffee machine is critical on a Monday morning.
That is very true. I completely agree with that. How about you, Marco? How was your weekend? My weekend was really nice, actually. I spent Saturday morning reading about professional communication. I found some really interesting research about how much workplace behavior affects career success.
You spent your weekend reading about professional communication on purpose?
Yes, on purpose. I find it fascinating. Did you know that studies show that 85% of career success comes from people skills, not technical skills?
Wow, that's a big number.
It is. So how you behave at work matters just as much as what you know how to do.
Okay, that's actually really interesting. So what did you do Sunday?
Sunday, I took a long walk and cooked a nice dinner. Balance is important.
Balance is important. See, that's good etiquette for yourself, huh?
You're right. Speaking of etiquette, that actually brings us perfectly to today's topic.
I see what you did there. Good segue, right?
Very smooth, Erica. Very professional. Okay, let's talk about job etiquette. First, let's start with the basics. What do you think is the most fundamental rule of workplace behavior?
I would say showing up on time.
Yes, punctuality is huge. Being on time or even a few minutes early shows respect for other people's time. I learned this the hard way in my first job. I was late on my third day and my manager pulled me aside and said, "Marco, being late sends a message to others."
What did he say?
I said, "Sorry, the traffic was bad," and she said, "Everyone has traffic. Plan for it."
Ooh, that's a good lesson. And how do you talk about punctuality? What are some phrases?
Well, I guess you can say, "I always try to be on time," or "I apologize for being late."
Yes, and professionally, you might say, "I'll make sure this doesn't happen again," or "I take full responsibility for being late." These phrases show maturity.
Maturity. That means acting like a responsible adult.
Exactly. Maturity in the workplace means handling situations calmly and responsibly.
Okay, so punctuality is number one. What's next? Let's talk about dress code. How you dress at work is a big part of etiquette.
I love this topic because I have strong opinions.
Oh, tell me.
I think comfort is important. If I'm comfortable, I work better.
I understand that, but there's a balance between comfort and professionalism. In most workplaces, you need to dress appropriately for the environment.
What does dress appropriately mean exactly?
It means wearing clothes that match the culture of your workplace. In a formal office, that might mean business attire, like a suit or a blouse and trousers. In a creative company, it might mean smart casual.
Smart casual? What's that?
Smart casual means neat and tidy, but not a full suit. Like clean jeans with a nice shirt or a casual dress. It looks put together without being too formal.
Ah, that's what I wear most days then. Smart casual. I like that name for it.
So you do dress professionally, Erica. You just didn't know the name for it.
I've been doing it right all along. So how do you talk about dress code at work? What phrases do you use?
You might say, our office has a business casual dress code. Or, please dress professionally for the client meeting. And if you're not sure, a great phrase is, could you clarify the dress code for me?
That's smart. Just ask. Never assume.
Exactly. I want to make sure I dress appropriately is also a great thing to say. It shows you care about fitting in.
Okay, what about behavior in the actual workspace, like the office area?
Oh, there's so much here. Let's start with keeping your workspace tidy.
My desk is not always tidy.
I'm not surprised, Marco.
Hey, I know where everything is.
Okay. Well, at work, it's important to keep your desk organized because it affects others' impressions of you. You can say, I keep my desk clean and organized. Or, I make sure my workspace is tidy at the end of each day.
What if someone comments on your messy desk?
You can say, I'm working on organizing my space. Thank you for the reminder. Or even, I apologize. I'll tidy this up right away. Take it positively, not defensively.
Defensively means like you're trying to protect yourself, getting upset?
Exactly. Defensive means reacting negatively to feedback, like making excuses. It's better to accept feedback gracefully.
Gracefully. That's a nice word. It means with dignity and politeness.
Okay, what about noise levels in the office?
This is a big one for me.
Yes, office noise is a common etiquette issue. Being mindful of the noise you make is really important.
Mindful means aware, right?
Yes, being aware and considerate. For example, you should keep your voice at a reasonable level, especially in open offices. During phone calls, taking loud personal calls in an open office is so distracting.
Exactly. It's good etiquette to take personal calls privately. You can step away from your desk and say, "Excuse me, I need to take this call," or "Could I take a moment to make a quick call?" And for speaker calls or loud videos, you should use headphones. If you don't have any, you can say, "I apologize. I'll use my headphones next time."
These are all very specific things that seem small, but make a big difference.
That's exactly right. Etiquette is about the small things. They add up.
Let's talk about email etiquette. I think this is really important in modern workplaces.
Oh, absolutely. So many work relationships and impressions are built through email.
What are the most important email rules?
First, always use a proper greeting, "Dear Mr. Smith" or "Hello, Sarah," depending on how formal the relationship is.
What if you don't know the person?
Well, err on the side of formal. Use "Dear Name" or "Good Morning Name." Then when they reply in a more casual way, you can match their tone.
Err on the side of formal. What does that mean here?
Err on the side of means to be more careful or conservative when you're not sure. So err on the side of formal means choose the more formal option when you're unsure.
That makes sense. What else for emails?
Always have a clear subject line. For example, request for meeting on Tuesday or project update for Q3. This helps people understand your email before they open it.
And response time? How fast should you reply?
Generally within 24 hours for professional emails. If it's urgent, sooner. And if you can't reply fully yet, you can write, "Thank you for your email. I'll get back to you by time, date."
That's thoughtful. You're acknowledging them without rushing.
Exactly. Other good email phrases are, "Please find attached" when you're including a document, or "I'm writing to follow up on, to check on something."
What about signing off? How do you end a professional email?
For formal emails, you use "yours sincerely" or "best regards." For less formal, you can say "best" or "thanks," and then your name.
I always use best regards. Is that too formal for everyday emails?
Not at all. Best regards is a safe and polite choice for almost any professional email.
Okay, good. Let me ask you about something a bit trickier. What about relationships with colleagues? Like, how do you behave with the people you work with every day?
Great topic. colleague relationships are so important for workplace happiness.
What's the most important thing?
I would say mutual respect, treating every colleague with respect, whether they're the CEO or the cleaning staff.
That's a good point. Everyone deserves respect.
Exactly. And in terms of phrases, you can say, I appreciate your help, or thank you for your contribution, or I value your opinion. These are simple but powerful.
They really are. Showing appreciation goes a long way at work. What about when there's a conflict with a colleague, like a disagreement?
Erica.
Escalate? Like, make it bigger?
Yes. Don't argue loudly in the office or involve other people unnecessarily. Instead, address it calmly and directly. You can say, could we find some time to discuss this privately? Or, I'd like to talk about this when we both have a moment.
That's mature. And what do you say in that private conversation?
Use I statements instead of you statements. For example, instead of you always interrupt me, say, I feel frustrated when I'm interrupted during presentations.
Oh, that's less accusatory.
Exactly. Accusatory means you're blaming someone directly. I statements express your feelings without attacking the other person.
And what if the conflict is with your manager?
Same principle, but even more diplomatic. You might say, I'd appreciate the chance to discuss some concerns I have, or could we schedule some time to talk about how we can work better together?
These sound so calm and professional. I like it.
Staying calm and professional, even when you're frustrated, is a major part of workplace etiquette.
Okay, let's talk about meetings briefly, since we covered them in our last video. But what about meeting etiquette specifically?
Oh yes, there are some behavior rules, not just phrases. First, be prepared. Before a meeting, you should review the agenda if there is one, and show up on time.
We mentioned that.
Yes. Also, put your phone away or on silent. Having your phone on the table and checking it during a meeting is considered very rude.
I've seen people do this. It does feel disrespectful.
It does. The phrase is, give your full attention. You can say, I want to give you my full attention when you put your phone away.
What about taking notes? Is that okay?
Yes, taking notes is professional. You can say, do you mind if I take notes? Or, I'll take notes so we don't forget the action items.
What about eating during meetings?
It depends on the culture. In some offices, it's fine for informal meetings. For formal ones, it's better to avoid. If food is provided in the meeting room, it's usually okay to eat.
Good to know. What about body language in meetings?
Great point. Nodding to show you're listening, making eye contact, sitting up straight, these all show you're engaged and professional.
Engaged means you're paying attention and participating.
Yes, exactly. You can say, I'm fully engaged in this project, or thank you for keeping us engaged with your presentation.
What about communicating with your boss? That's a different dynamic, right?
Very different. The relationship with your manager requires a bit more formality and respect.
How do you strike that balance between being friendly and being professional?
Follow your boss's lead. If they're casual and informal, you can match that tone a little, but always maintain respect.
What phrases do you use when talking to a boss?
When asking for something, you say, I was hoping to discuss, or would it be possible to? Or I wanted to ask your advice on something. And when you need more time for a task, you say, I want to make sure I do this well. Could I have until Thursday? Or I need a bit more time to complete this properly. Is that okay with you?
That's honest and professional. You're not making excuses.
Exactly. You're showing you care about quality.
What if your boss gives you feedback that's hard to hear?
That's a great question. You should never react defensively. A great response is, thank you for the feedback. I'll work on that. Or, I appreciate you telling me. I'll make sure to improve.
Even if you disagree?
Even if you disagree. First, acknowledge it. Then later you can say, could I share my perspective on this? Or, I'd love to discuss this further when you have time.
That's so balanced. You accept first, then you have the conversation.
Exactly. Reacting badly to feedback can damage your professional reputation very quickly.
Reputation is like your image at work.
Yes, your professional reputation is how other people see you at work. It takes a long time to build and can be damaged quickly.
Okay, let's talk about something fun. Office social etiquette, like office parties, team lunches, after-work drinks.
how do you behave there?
Ooh, this is important. A lot of people think that because it's a social event, the rules are different, aren't they? Can't you relax a little?
You can relax, but you should still be professional. Remember, your colleagues and managers are still watching.
So don't dance on the table at the office party.
Exactly. Some phrases for office social events: I'd love to join you for lunch, or thanks for the invite to the team dinner. And if you can't attend, you say, thank you so much for inviting me. Unfortunately, I have a prior commitment. Or, I'm sorry I can't make it this time. I hope you all have a great time.
Prior commitment. That means you already have plans.
Yes, a prior commitment is something you already agreed to before.
And at the actual event, what are some good phrases?
You can say, this is a lovely venue, or the food is wonderful, or it's really nice to see everyone outside of the office. Small talk is important at these events.
Very important. Topics like food, travel, weekend plans, movies, and sports are safe and easy. Avoid talking about salary, politics, or personal problems at work events.
Those are sensitive topics.
Very sensitive. If someone brings them up, you can politely redirect by saying, that's interesting, but let's not talk shop tonight, or let's keep it light for tonight.
Talk shop means talking about work.
Yes, talk shop means discussing work-related topics, often when it's not appropriate or expected. Good to know.
What about office gossip? This is a huge topic.
Huge. Office gossip is one of the most damaging things for professional etiquette.
Define gossip for me.
Gossip is talking about other people's personal or professional life in a negative or speculative way.
Speculative means you don't know for sure, but you're guessing.
Exactly. Office gossip is dangerous because it can spread misinformation, damage reputations, and create a toxic environment.
So, how do you avoid it?
You can say, I prefer not to talk about colleagues behind their back, or I'm not really comfortable discussing this.
That takes courage to say.
It does, but most people respect it. You can also redirect by saying, I heard that project is going really well. Have you heard about that? Change the subject smoothly.
Exactly. And if you accidentally say something you shouldn't, you can say, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Please disregard that. Or, I apologize. That was unprofessional of me.
Disregard means ignore.
Yes, forget I said that. Pretend it wasn't said.
Let's talk about phone etiquette. Not just in meetings, but in general in the workplace.
Yes, phone etiquette is very specific and important.
Like what?
First, when you answer a professional call, you should say, good morning, this is name. Or, thank you for calling company. How can I help you? Not just hello.
No, not just hello. That's too casual for a work call. And when you're making a call, you introduce yourself right away. Hello, this is Marco calling from company. May I speak with Sarah?
That's very clear. What about leaving voicemails?
Leave voicemails short and clear. State your name, why you're calling, your contact number, and the best time to call back. Hi, this is Erica from Daily English Talk. I'm calling regarding the project proposal. Please call me back at number. Thank you. Simple and professional.
Exactly. And always end with thank you or I look forward to hearing from you.
What about using a speakerphone at work?
If you use speaker mode, always let the other person know. Say, I'm going to put you on speaker, or I have you on speaker. Sarah and Marcus are also in the room.
That's important, so people know who can hear them. Yes, it would be very uncomfortable if someone said something private without knowing others could hear.
Let's talk about something that I think a lot of people struggle with. Asking for help at work. Is that okay? Is there a right way to do it?
Absolutely. Asking for help is not a weakness. It's actually a sign of good judgment.
Really?
Yes, knowing when to ask for help shows self-awareness. But how you ask matters.
How do you ask for help professionally?
You can say, I could use some guidance on this task. Or, would you mind helping me understand this process? Or, I want to make sure I do this correctly. Could you show me?
Those sound humble but professional.
Humble means not arrogant. You're showing you're willing to learn.
And what if you ask for help and the person is busy?
Then you say, I completely understand if you're busy. When would be a good time? Never make people feel guilty for not helping immediately.
Good point. That's respectful of their time.
Exactly. And if someone does help you, always say, thank you so much for your help. Or, I really appreciate you taking the time to help me with this.
And what about boundaries at work, like respecting other people's boundaries?
Oh, this is so important. Workplace boundaries are about respecting personal space, time, and professional limits. For example, don't call or message a colleague late at night unless it's truly urgent. And if you need to, say, "I'm sorry to contact you out of work hours, but this is urgent."
So you acknowledge that you're crossing a boundary.
Exactly. You can also set your own boundaries by saying, "I usually don't check messages after 7 p.m., but I'll get back to you first thing tomorrow."
That's a healthy and professional way to communicate.
Yes, workplace wellness is a growing topic. People are increasingly understanding the importance of work-life balance, and communicating your boundaries clearly is part of that.
Work-life balance. That's having time for both work and personal life.
Exactly. And finally, let's talk about professionalism during difficult times, like when you make a mistake.
Ooh, yes, this happens to everyone.
It does. And how you handle mistakes says a lot about your character.
What do you do when you make a mistake at work?
First, take ownership. Don't blame others or make excuses. You say, "I made a mistake and I take full responsibility," or "That was my error and I apologize for any inconvenience it caused."
That's hard to do sometimes.
It is, but it's the most respected response. Then you offer a solution. "Here's what I'm going to do to fix it," or "I've already taken steps to correct this."
So you don't just say sorry and stop there, right?
Right. The apology plus the action plan shows maturity. It says, "I know what I did wrong, and I'm making it right."
And if someone else makes a mistake, how do you react to that?
Gracefully and with empathy. You can say, "Don't worry, we all make mistakes. Let's work on fixing it together." Or, "It's okay. How can I help?"
Empathy means you understand how they feel.
Yes, empathy is understanding and sharing the feelings of another person. It's one of the most important qualities in a workplace.
I agree. A kind colleague makes all the difference when you're having a hard day.
It really does. The workplace is a community, and good etiquette helps that community function well.
You know, Erica, while we were talking about job etiquette today, we used so many important and useful words. Let's go through them one by one.
Yes, I noticed some words I want to understand better.
Great. First word, punctuality. Punctuality means the habit of being on time. Being punctual means you arrive when you are expected to arrive. So a punctual person never keeps others waiting.
Exactly. For example, she is known for her punctuality. She arrives 5 minutes early to every meeting. Or, punctuality is very important in this company. And the opposite would be being late all the time.
Yes, the opposite quality is being tardy, which means frequently late. For example, he was fired because of his constant tardiness.
I need to work on my punctuality.
We know, Erica, we know.
Second word, attire. Attire means clothing, especially for a specific occasion or context. So business attire means work clothes.
Yes, for example, the invitation said formal attire required, so I wore my best suit. Or, what's the expected attire for the office?
Can you use attire for everyday clothes too?
You can, but it sounds quite formal. In everyday speech, people usually just say clothes or outfit. Attire is more common in professional or formal contexts.
Good tip. Third word, maturity. Maturity means behaving in a responsible, sensible, and adult way. So, professional maturity is handling situations calmly and responsibly.
Exactly. For example, she handled the conflict with great maturity. Or, I was impressed by the maturity he showed when receiving criticism.
And the opposite would be immaturity, like reacting childishly.
Exactly right. His immature reaction to the feedback made everyone uncomfortable.
Fourth word, reputation. Reputation is how other people view or think of you based on your actions over time. So a good professional reputation means people see you as reliable and trustworthy.
Exactly. For example, she has an excellent reputation in the industry. Or, it took him years to rebuild his reputation after the mistake.
Reputation is hard to build and easy to lose.
Perfectly said. That's an important lesson. What's your reputation at work, Marco?
I'd like to think I'm known as the creative and friendly one. Maybe a little late sometimes, but people like having me around.
That's a good reputation, the friendly and creative colleague.
Fifth word, boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set about what is acceptable in a relationship or situation. So, workplace boundaries might be about your personal space or your working hours.
Exactly. For example, I set clear boundaries about not working on weekends, or it's important to respect your colleagues' boundaries.
What's the difference between a rule and a boundary?
A rule is set by a company or authority. A boundary is set by a person for themselves. You decide your own boundaries.
Ah, that makes sense. A boundary is personal.
Yes, and communicating your boundaries professionally is part of good workplace etiquette.
7th word, empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. So an empathetic colleague is someone who gets how you feel.
Exactly. For example, she showed great empathy when her colleague was stressed about the deadline. Or try to show empathy when giving difficult feedback.
Is empathy the same as sympathy?
Good question. They're similar, but not the same. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is actually feeling what they feel and understanding their perspective.
So empathy is deeper.
Yes, empathy says, I understand how you feel. Sympathy says, I feel sorry that you feel that way.
I want to be more empathetic.
It's a great quality to develop.
7th word, acknowledge. To acknowledge means to recognize, accept, or confirm something. Like acknowledging someone's contribution means recognizing what they did.
Exactly. For example, he acknowledged my hard work in front of the whole team. Or, please acknowledge receipt of this email by replying.
Oh, please acknowledge receipt means confirm you received it.
Yes, exactly. It's very common in professional emails.
I should use that more.
8th word, speculative. Speculative means based on guesses or uncertain information, not confirmed facts. Like gossip, you're speculating about things you don't know for sure.
Exactly. For example, I don't want to be speculative, but I think there might be some changes coming. Or, please don't share speculative information before it's confirmed.
So if you're not sure, you shouldn't say it as if it's a fact, right? And in professional settings, spreading speculative information can be harmful. It's better to say, I'm not sure. Let's wait for official information.
9th word, gracefully. Gracefully means doing something with elegance, dignity, and ease, especially in a difficult situation. So accepting feedback gracefully means you handle it with dignity.
Yes. For example, she accepted the criticism gracefully without getting upset. Or he lost the promotion gracefully, congratulating his colleague sincerely.
That's hard to do sometimes.
It is, but people who handle difficult situations gracefully are very well respected.
Erica. 10th word, constructive. Constructive means helpful, positive, and aimed at improvement. Like constructive feedback.
Exactly. Constructive feedback points out what can be improved and how, rather than just criticizing. For example, can you give me constructive feedback on my presentation? Or, I appreciate constructive criticism because it helps me grow.
The opposite would be destructive feedback, just negative with no help.
Yes, destructive criticism tears down without building up. Constructive criticism helps you improve.
I always want constructive feedback.
Me too.
11th word, initiative. Initiative means the ability to start or take action on something without being asked. So taking initiative means you do things proactively.
Exactly. For example, she shows great initiative by always looking for ways to improve the process. Or, I took the initiative to organize the files before my manager asked.
Taking initiative is usually looked upon very positively at work.
Yes, it shows you're motivated and self-driven.
Let's do a quick vocabulary summary. Punctuality means being on time. Attire means clothing for a specific context. Maturity means responsible adult behavior. Reputation is how others see you. Boundaries are personal limits. Empathy is understanding others' feelings. Acknowledge means recognize or confirm. Speculative means based on guesses. Gracefully means with dignity and ease. Constructive means helpful and aimed at improvement. And initiative means taking action without being asked.
What a great list.
Okay, Marco, that was a lot of talking about job etiquette.
I know, but there's so much to cover. Every part of the workday involves some kind of etiquette.
I feel like I learned the entire manual for being a good colleague.
Well, let's think about what we learned and organize it so it's easy to remember.
Good idea. First, we talked about the basics of workplace behavior: punctuality, dress code, and workspace tidiness. We used phrases like, I always try to be on time, I apologize for being late, and I'll tidy this up right away. These small habits create a professional image.
Then we talked about communication etiquette.
emails, phone calls, and voicemails. Key phrases include, please find attached, thank you for your email, I'll get back to you by, and I'm writing to follow up on. Clear and polite communication is so important, right?
Then we covered colleague relationships and conflict resolution. The key idea was mutual respect and staying professional. Phrases like, I'd like to talk about this privately, I feel frustrated when, and thank you for the feedback, I'll work on that.
After that, we talked about meetings and social events, being prepared, putting your phone away, and being appropriate even in relaxed settings. We learned, I want to give you my full attention, and I'm sorry I can't make it, I have a prior commitment.
Then we discussed managing up, which means working professionally with your manager, being respectful, taking feedback gracefully, and communicating your needs clearly. Phrases like, I wanted to ask your advice, and could I share my perspective on this?
And finally, we talked about making mistakes and taking responsibility. The most important phrase there, I take full responsibility, and here's what I'm doing to fix it.
Exactly. The big message is that job etiquette is about respect. Respect for your time, your colleagues' time, the workplace space, and the professional relationships.
And the good news is, once you know the phrases, it becomes natural very quickly.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect. And these phrases work in almost every professional situation.
Now, we want to hear from you. This is our favorite part of every lesson.
Yes, we get so excited to read your comments. Please share your experience with us. Our question of the day is, what is one rule of job etiquette that you think is the most important and why?
Oh, I love this question. For me, the most important rule is punctuality, because being on time shows that you respect other people and you're reliable. If people can't count on you to show up on time, it's hard for them to trust you with bigger responsibilities.
That's a great answer. For me, I think the most important rule is giving and receiving feedback gracefully, because it's the basis of growth at work. If people can give honest feedback and receive it well, the whole team improves.
See, we have different answers, and that's okay. Both are really important, right? And that's the beauty of etiquette. Different people prioritize different aspects, but they all contribute to a respectful workplace.
So, viewers, we want to know about you. What do you think is the most important rule of job etiquette? Please tell us in the comments. Write, I think the most important rule is because, for example, you could write, I think the most important rule is keeping your workspace tidy because it shows you are organized and professional. Or, I think the most important rule is respecting boundaries because everyone deserves to feel comfortable at work. Or even, I think the most important rule is taking responsibility for mistakes because it builds trust.
Any answer is great. There's no wrong answer here. It helps us understand what topics matter most to you so we can make better videos. And it gives you a chance to practice writing in English. A double benefit.
So please leave your comment below. We really do read every single one.
Thank you so very much for spending this time with us today. It truly means a lot that you choose to learn with Daily English Talk.
We hope this lesson helps you feel more confident and professional in your English-speaking workplace.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. It helps our channel reach more learners who need these lessons.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button right now and hit the little bell notification. That way you won't miss any of our future lessons.
We post new content regularly, and we'd love for you to be part of our learning community. You are all wonderful students. The fact that you're here watching and learning shows how dedicated you are.
Keep practicing. Remember, professional English is not about being perfect. It's about being clear, respectful, and consistent. Every small step forward counts.
Keep going. You're doing great.
Have a wonderful day, evening, and night, wherever you are in the world. Take care of yourselves, and take care of your colleagues, too.
Yes, that is also good etiquette.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.